After the auction houses struggled to find regrowth for classic antiques among new generations of buyers, something happened just before the turn of the millennium, in 2000. More and more people became interested in modern design, and by modern design I mean 20th century design. Especially design from the middle of the century, which the new generation of buyers recognized from the waiting rooms in the childhood dental clinics, school libraries, restaurants, and not least the home of the grandparents. During the modernism, each country tried to find its own identity and create its own expression of good design. One of the strongest design countries during the post-war period was Italy. The center of design was without competition Milan, with the surrounding of smaller cities. From the beginning, it was family-run companies that sold locally and that over time grow and become global brands. Not least because more and more furnishings and lamps appeared in international magazines that wanted to convey a sophisticated and advanced lifestyle. Thanks to Triennale di Milano, which was a recurring international exhibition in design and modern architecture, and the Compasso d'Oro Design Award, the whole world was encouraged to innovate design. The design is becoming more playful, advanced and almost eccentric, with at least a bold new design by designers such as Gio Ponti, Marco Sanuzzo, Joe Colombo and Ettore Sottsass. Today I talked to Barnebys Italian editor Daniela Neri, who has written several articles in Barnebys magazine about Italian design classics, but also avant-garde designers from other countries who have created iconic design that are in great demand in the secondary market today. What do you think about eccentric furniture, and what are your favorite pieces in Italian design?
Well, furniture in unconventional shapes or in bold colors or both creates a unique environment and expresses the individuality of their owners. Italian design is full of examples of quirky furniture with whimsical chairs, unconventional beds, playful sofas, and so on. If we consider the radical period in particular, in the late 1960s, we have outstanding examples like, the Bazaar sofa from Super Studio, which is a modular sofa that perfectly fits in the revolutionary and experimental climate of the late 1960s. For those who have never seen it, you need to imagine a huge sofa that looks a bit like a spaceship or half a spaceship or like a shell maybe, with soft curves in coated fiberglass and fabric. So it's far from being a simple sofa. It is rather an invention of style, a symbol of, golden age for Italian-made design. And during the same period, we also find the Safari sofa by Arcade Zoom, which is another majestic piece that certainly doesn't go unnoticed. And when it went out, it was advertised with a very particular phrase. Let me try and remember it as much as possible. It was something in the line of an imperial piece in the squalor of your home, a beautiful piece that you don't deserve. Clear out your living room. Clear your life too. So this advertising had ironic, bold words. It was provocative, just like this wonderful piece of furniture, basically.
It's a great mix from the Italian Baroque and the
it's
space
lovely.
age.
I love it. I love writing that article as well. I had so much fun.
Yeah. I'm very fond of Italian design from these centuries.
Yes, the radical period,
And it was really strong for a while, but also the prices and everything. But then come the French, the Jean, the Charlotte Perriand, the Royer, and also the Scandinavian pieces. And that kind of surpassed the interest for the Italians. But I think we'll come back actually. It's so strong, the design.
I think so, because they always sell for high prices at auctions. People are interested.
I also remember the Serpent, the sofa from Marzio Cecchi. And then we had the Gaetano Pesce.
Yeah.
who was a very famous Italian designer, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, the Serpente sofa is amazing. Serpente means snake in Italian, and this sofa is made up of 18 elements covered in pink vinyl. So you need to imagine this huge pink snake, which is definitely a quirky image in my view. Some people also call it the endless sofa because, I mean, 18 elements is quite long. And yes, it was created by Marzio Cecchi, who was an architect and designer, but also a visionary artist. And his pieces were known for combining functionality, inventiveness, and beauty, of course. And yeah, Cecchi tragically died in a car accident in New York in 1990, but he left timeless pieces of design. And his creations still obtain prestigious awards, are acquired by important museums, and they are highly collectible as well. And then, yes, you mentioned Gaetano Pesce. He was an incredibly eclectic artist, not just a designer, but also a sculptor, an architect, a urban planner. And his pieces reflect this polyhedric personality. I remember in particular the Feltri armchair, which was conceived in 1987, and it represents one of the most unique and unconventional design products of the 20th century, and is part of the permanent collection of the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in New York. And this structure is made of thick wool felt, which is a flexible material, but with a thermosetting resin, which gives it rigidity and resistance. So the result is a product that can be molded and yielded in the upper part, but is instead robust in the lower part. And it's funny because in designing it, Gaetano Pesce thought of a sort of primitive environment, an ancestral shelter that can be obtained by wrapping around the back as if it were a mantle. So those who sit on this armchair, I have the sensation of being on a tribal throne or inside a cocoon. You know, they feel like they can isolate themselves from the outside world, protected by this felt. So, and then you have different versions of the Feltri armchair, but all in bright colors. And that gives to the piece of furniture a lively and energetic look as well.
Is there an eccentric piece of furniture that you particularly like outside Italy from a non-Italian designer?
Outside Italy, we need to go back in time even more, back to the 1930s. And I'm thinking of the Maywest Lips sofa by Salvador Dalí, which is an iconic piece of 1930s design. And Dalí was inspired by the American actress Mae West, who was known for an exuberant character, and Dalí was an eccentric, exuberant person himself too. So he was fascinated by this woman. Actually, Mae West was also famous for her quotes, some of which sound so modern even nowadays after all this time. I remember in particular the quote that goes, let me think, it's, you only live once, but if you do it right once is enough. And I don't know about you, but I think this is quite a good quote to keep in mind.
You should live up to that.
Yes, exactly. It's like the YOLO of people nowadays, a refined version of it. So I mean, the Maywest Lips sofa has the shape of a pair of female lips. It is red in color, and it is sensual and shocking at the same time. And I think it is a joyful expression of surrealism. I mean, 90 years after its creation, 90 years or so, this sofa is still universally recognized as one of the most famous pieces of furniture of the 20th century.
Definitely. You have mentioned the late 1960s in Italy and the 1930s and Salvador Dalí. What about more recent times? Is there a designer that has attracted your attention lately?
I quite like a British designer, MarkBrazierJones. He makes some amazing chairs. You see, chairs are certainly one of the most common furnishing elements, and they are usually simple and linear. You know, it's a chair. A chair is a chair. But some designers have given them a touch of personality, originality, and MarkBrazierJones is one of them. He makes some very special chairs, like the dolphin chair, for example, which has 3 legs instead of 4. And the back of the chair resembles the tail of a dolphin. which is so it's a must for lovers of design, but also of marine mammals. And I quite also like the angel chair, which has a backrest that takes the shape of an angel's wings. And here too we have 3 legs instead of 4, but they have a definitely original and almost contradictory shape, because the legs in the front, they vaguely recall Luciferian hooves. So you have the Lucifer in the front, and then you have the wings of an angel at the back. So it's quite funny.
What does it mean to choose the right piece of furniture?
I think that choosing the right piece for your home is an intriguing and complex experience, as each element has to be, it has to be functional, first of all. It has to be used, you have to use it, so it has to be sturdy and practical. But it should also represent a peculiar aesthetic taste and reflect the personality of those who live there, you know. I mean, our personality is revealed by the furniture in our house. So, I mean, every single piece of furniture is an original and creative revelation in some way.
True. What do you think is the trend for furniture? How does the future look?
I believe there are 3 keywords to consider here: quality, sustainability, and convenience. According to a lot of recent reports, and by the way, one of them is the Barnebys report that if our readers haven't read it yet, I strongly suggest to read it. It's called "Changing Trends in Global Auction Markets," and also we mentioned this in some of our podcasts. I mean, millennials are looking for items that cannot be found everywhere, items that are unique and stylish. They have an interest in used, vintage, or antique home furnishings. So there's a new generation of bargain hunters that are turning to antiques when it comes to home interiors, as a way to also to reduce their carbon footprint and save money. So quality, sustainability, and convenience. Millennials look for quality items that last over time. They look for items that are better for the carbon footprint. They look for convenient items, and pre-owned furniture is often even cheaper than IKEA furniture. So that's quite important. And so basically millennials are ditching mass market furniture for vintage goods. We know that mass production has a bad impact on the environment because much of it is not non-recyclable, because of the poor quality of some materials, because it contributes to landfills. And that's why antique furniture is becoming increasingly popular. I mean, even if we consider recent events with the COVID-19, there was a pandemic-driven desire to make our space more stylish, or simply to make them feel like home. We spent much more time at home, and therefore we started to care for it a bit more. And all of these factors have collided to drive the latest trend in home deco, which isn't actually new at all, it's vintage.
You were saying that new produced furniture might be cheap when you buy them.
But then you have to throw it away after a few months, and that's it.
The value with quality grow over time, right?
Yeah. In Italian we have a saying, "Chi più spende meno spende." The people who spend more actually spend less, because in the long run, if you spend a lot, then you have an item that is going to last for a long time. So you spend once, but then you can keep it for your life. So
and I think the auction market is a proof of that, because you can also sell it, and you can actually sometimes get even more money for it. But if you would choose one Italian design piece that are common, or that really is a piece that everyone has in Italy, what would that be?
I'm not sure if everyone, but I think a lot of people probably have a cartel item, and I mean it's quite quirky. This plastic furniture that is quite colored as well. We have the Philip Stark stuff from cartel, which is really nice, and we have a lot of cartel items at auction as well. So it's it's a good moneta di scambio. You can sell it, you can buy, and you can sell it and resell it at auction as well.
And this actually, you could tell, the secondary market covered decades of their productions, right? So, I mean, there's plenty of it, and you find a lot of great design.
I mean, they started in 1949, if I remember well, so it covered quite a long lifespan.
Yeah. There are many benefits to surround yourself with good design. You stimulate your mind, and you develop your aesthetic capacity. Good design is also associated with functionality. Reputable designers want to develop everything from the functional form, but also the production. And as an owner of a great design piece, you surround yourself with timeless design that stands the test of time and is a so-called conversation piece. Summarized in 4 words, good design lasts forever.